Hello, and welcome back to What We Pod in the Shadows, where we are discussing the sixth and final season of What We Do in the Shadows. I'm Raven.
And I'm Allison.
Today we are talking about this week's episode, which is called Come Out and Play.
Okay, so this is episode 9, and we will be spoiling pretty much everything. So if you haven't watched already, you might want to pause and come back after you've watched.
Yes, spoilers abound.
So our vampire group gets ready for an event where the Baron is receiving an Eternal Lifetime Achievement Award. The sire can't come because they don't have a sitter for their little frog creature things. I don't 100% know what those things are. I guess I don't remember.
Yeah, the only thing I could think of is when I believe it was Laszlo had created some like Guillermo hybrid creatures. I'm not sure if those are them or no.
The Baron is dressed all in white with gold details and heels. Guillermo is not invited, but for some reason the monster is going. And I can't help but thinking how this all would have went down had Guillermo had attended. Guillermo has plans to hang out with his cousin Miguel. They hang out at the batting cages, and Miguel picks on Guillermo for not being athletic, calls him Memo.
He dismisses Guillermo when he tries to talk about his old job working for the vampires, though he doesn't know that they're vampires yet. The vampires arrive at the Baron's celebration and see various cliques and vampire archetypes, such as punk rock vampires and surfer vampires. Nandor tries to flirt with the guide, but she's more concerned with the Baron. Nandor doesn't seem to like that Jerry's there because he views him as his romantic rival. Jerry gets up on stage and at first hypes everyone up, but then makes a speech which is mainly just calling out the Baron's leadership skills and saying that if they'd had a different leader, maybe they'd have taken over the New World already instead of hiding out for 250 years. The Baron tries to take the mic away and get things back on track to get his award, but Jerry continues on with his anti-Baron speech. Naja gets the mic and is like, "How dare you disrespect the Baron? You were nothing compared to the Baron," and spits in his face. Before Jerry can react, he gets his head pulped and then wrenched off his body by Cravensworth's monster.
Okay, so they're almost like in like this domed arena when they first get there, like a bunch of, I guess it's all vampires, but there's a bunch of bats flying around. You mentioned some of the groups, but there were like goths and what they called hampires, like from the Hamptons, I think.
Yeah.
Private schoolgirl vamps, Coney Island carnies, leatherette. I think you said the surfers, and there were like
Yes.
TSA vamps.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the TSA vamps.
The crowd declares that the Staten Island vampires killed Jerry, even though it was just the monster, and it's not like Laszlo ordered him to do it or anything. The monster pretty much just largely acted of his own accord.
Yes, because he seemed to view Jerry as a threat or something.
Well, we learn later, though, Laszlo says he created the monster to protect Nadja.
Right.
And did the monster think Nadja was in trouble? Because she was on stage with Jerry, and Jerry was after the mic. So maybe that's what was happening.
Maybe.
Now that I think about it.
Maybe.
They shout, "Kill them," as they turn into bats and fly out the door. Our vamps regroup in a parking garage. Poor Colin hadn't been able to fly away. He just finally caught up with them. They don't know the way home, so they try to call Guillermo. But Guillermo's still with Miguel, and he's kind of away from his phone at first. Miguel insults Guillermo, so he leaves, but Miguel expresses that the family was worried and thought Guillermo didn't have friends. The call from Colin comes in and Miguel is all in. He assumes that the vamps are gay because Guillermo is kind of like, they're different.
Yeah. And he's like, "I have gay friends. Like, don't be weird, Guillermo."
The guide appears to them and apologizes for Jerry. Laszlo reveals that he created the monster to protect Nadja after she feared the monster was capable of anything. They try to cross a bridge but are trapped by baseball vamps and meat packing vamps. They run into the subway and encounter breakdancing vamps. They start a dance routine and Nadja tries to challenge them, but Laszlo kills the whole group. So he kind of like, it's like all in fast forward. You don't totally see how he does it, but they all just like collapse, and then I think he does take like a pole or something and stab someone through. But
Yeah.
so all of these vampires are like after them, but I'm just not sure why they care that Jerry was killed.
Yeah.
Like, he's been gone for 20 years, basically.
50 years, actually.
Okay, 50. Nobody's was concerned about his whereabouts. Like nobody
Yeah.
knocked and was like, what happened to Jerry?
Why, we haven't seen him in 5 decades. What's up with that?
And
Nothing.
then it seems like the Baron is largely liked and celebrated because they all showed up. I mean, I guess sometimes that is like maybe where a coup could happen is like you pretend. But all these vamps are going after our Staten Island vamps because they think they killed Jerry. Meanwhile, the Staten Island vamps are like slaying all these vampires as they're trying to get home. So like what's the difference? I
Yeah.
don't understand. I get Jerry was kind of a leader, or he wanted to be, but I'm just not understanding why they are risking their lives to avenge. It's like Jerry's already dead. It's not like they kidnapped him or something.
Right.
There's nothing you can't fix it.
Yeah, they can't get him back. I don't know. Like, I think about like on Preacher, like the vampire guy on there, Cassidy. It's like he can come back from so much shit if they just like pour enough blood on him and like he eats that. So like, I was like, could they maybe do that for him? And then his head got taken off, and I'm like, probably not now.
Yeah. Nandor continues to compliment and simp over the guide. I hope people are offended by the simp. It just seems like that's what he's doing. I don't know. Miguel calls in backup, and Guillermo reveals his friends are vampires. Laszlo reveals he couldn't live without Nadja, and she kind of says the same thing in return. I just like their relationship. I get why he likes her, but I really don't understand why she likes him.
Yeah.
So she kind of like says the same thing back to him. Nandor talks about his search for love and reveals to the guy he likes her, and she says she is not interested because she's seen like what happens with all his other relationship, and that I think she just thinks it's about the chase for him, and then once he gets
Right.
the person, everything falls apart. So they end up in a graveyard. So all these graveyard vamps come out of a crypt, and they behave much like zombies. They're skeletal, and Naja here goes crazy, kicking butt. Like they almost carry Laszlo away at one point.
Yes.
So she gets blood and stuff all over her, like face and everything. And they go to a coffee shop and finally meet up with Guillermo and Miguel.
Miguel questions them being vampires, and then Nandor picks him up by the head, but Guillermo tells him that that's his cousin, and Nandor says that Guillermo's family is part of their family too. They are attacked in the coffee shop by artist and writer vampires posing as baristas. Guillermo and Miguel, with their Van Helsing blood, do most of the fighting and decimate the artist and writer vampires. They get outside, and Miguel's biker friends show up. They finally get home, and the Baron is there, having taken the train. He demands to know why they killed Jerry and is disappointed because he wanted to kill Jerry himself as a show of power. The guide tries to kill herself because she feels like she dishonored the Baron by working with Jerry, but Nandor intervenes. The Baron tells them nobody else needs to die because they'll run out of vampires at this rate. Craven's worst monster bursts in carrying Jerry's crushed head. And then the next day, I think the Baron had said he was going to prepare something, but he needed a day to do it. So the next day, the Baron has a speech about needing all the vampires' help if they're going to take over the new world. He asks if anyone has any questions, and Craven's worst monster pulps the guy's head who raised his hand. A vampire next to the dead guy also had a question, but says he's good now. And that vampire is played by Alexander Skarsgård of True Blood fame. And then Baron basically says that's what he's thought when he's like, nope, I don't. You answered my question. I get so many cameos on here of people who have famously played vampires. It's always delightful to see.
Eric Northman from True Blood.
Yeah.
So the Baron dismisses them and is worried what the sire will say because he's been out 2 nights in a row. And that was the end. So, I mean, a lot of stuff did happen here. And I guess, I mean, it did, like bring the monster storyline and the Jerry storyline together and to an end in one case
Yes.
with Jerry.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Jerry wasn't a very compelling character or anything, and they didn't really give us a whole lot of details about him. So it's like they introduced him and then barely was seen throughout the season and killed him off.
Yeah.
The way he died was a bit of a surprise and shocking.
Yeah. So much blood. That part was wild, but I didn't really care that he died.
We haven't really seen the monster like kill someone previously, so
Yeah.
and yeah, I'm just sort of surprised like that the Baron's not upset about the death of these other vamps, but maybe it was that Jerry had gotten them like to follow him somehow and they
Yeah.
were on his side. So maybe the Baron is glad that they got rid of them.
Yeah.
Just kind of like a whole, because the monster acted, it was kind of like a whole accident because the Baron did want Jerry dead.
It seems like once a season they get in trouble for like accidentally or almost killing someone,
Yeah.
and then it's a whole thing.
I did like Guillermo's cousin because I wasn't sure where that was gonna go. I didn't
Yeah.
like how he was kind of behaving. So I hope they don't take away his memory.
Yeah.
So he can have a relationship with his family because I think maybe he felt like he had to keep all that a secret.
Indeed. Yeah, I didn't like him at first either, because I'm like, everyone just shits on Guillermo. Leave him alone.
Yeah, because just because like you're not maybe into sports or good at sports,
Yeah.
there's other things someone can be good at.
Yeah, and Guillermo can actually kick ass. He's just not good at baseball.
Yeah. And I mean, I take it he probably hasn't like even tried since they were kids.
Yeah.
It's like he didn't even give him a chance like to warm up, or it's like, oh, because he missed the first one.
Yeah.
And then what did he say? It was like Sling Blade or something. It was really rude what he said to him.
Yeah, like he compared him getting a new job and coming back into society to Sling Blade, and I was like, what does that have to do with Sling Blade, dude? Why are you saying he's the dude from Sling Blade?
Yeah, it's like almost like that Guillermo's mentally incapacitated or something, or I don't know. It was mean. I don't blame Guillermo for wanting to leave. And he did say it was like their moms wanted them to be friendly again.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. Like, so Jerry called into question about the Baron not conquering the New World in this whole 250 years. If that was like the totality of like all the vampires in America, or maybe just in the tri-state area or whatever. But I'm not really sure that they could unless somehow they are able to like maybe hypnotize through like TVs and social media because
Yeah.
the people have to way more outnumber them, even though they are,
Absolutely.
strong and everything. I feel like maybe they're kind of happy. I feel like the Staten Island vampires are comfortable where they're at. Like,
Yeah.
maybe they just don't feel the need. Like, they could have a new goal as a group and
Yeah.
don't. I don't know.
Yeah, Jerry just had like a one-track mind about conquering the new world.
Yeah, but the Baron acts like that's going to be his goal too. But is that really what? Maybe they need to take a vote. Is that really what they all want to do? Like
Yeah.
for what? For what purpose? I'm just not sure. It's like a great idea. I get they don't want to be in hiding, but they are kind of bumbling at it, and they're still able to live their lives. They're
Yeah.
not like secret agents, and there's not like humans with torches and pitchforks and stuff coming at them. So
Yeah, though probably people now just think they're just like some goths or something
yeah,
and not like vampire.
yeah. Because I mean, Miguel was pretty skeptical, really, until Nandor picked him up.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of tired of them saying, like Guillermo left the family. He just realized he didn't actually want to be a vampire, but then they
Yeah.
keep calling him up when they need help. Or when
Yeah.
they need to go somewhere, they want him to drive them. Like, I feel like he's all in. Like, he called
Yeah.
Nandor his best friend. Like, he's all in, but they keep saying, well, you left the family and making him live out in the shed.
Yeah. Like just let him live back in the house, please. There's gotta be a room and not just that fucking space under the stairs where he could live.
Yeah, again,
It's a big ass house.
I don't understand why Laszlo is even claiming that space in the first place because the whole basement is a dungeon.
Yeah.
his dungeon.
You can do all
And
those
then
weird Laszlo things in there.
Colin has like he goes through like the vents and he's got like wherever that Funko Pop room is, he's got
Yeah.
that whole area. I'm not sure about like what Naja has specifically. They're not like using the kitchen.
Yeah. No.
So yeah, it's a big house, like I don't know.
They're just kind of assholes. So they don't want to admit that they need him or whatever, except for when they do need him. And then they're like, please, Guillermo, please save us.
It's like please. It's like how can you pick
Yeah.
up sooner?
Yeah.
Type of and I get it was an emergency for them, but like they didn't even know how to navigate.
Yeah.
And like Colin, he's should be better. Like he did have a phone, but I'm not sure why he's not better at being like human
Yeah.
because he's worked in all those offices. Like, doesn't he know how to use like a GPS or
Yeah, I
like
didn't think
even
about
call a
that.
cab or an Uber?
Yeah. Yeah, plus he worked as like a rideshare driver, so why doesn't he have like Uber or one of them on his phone?
Yeah. I'm not sure with Nandor and the guide. He kind of continued with it, and I don't feel like she completely doesn't like him. She's just like
She,
doesn't take it seriously, I guess. But
yeah.
she seemed kind of a little taken aback by his compliments, so not sure that's completely done with, but
At least not on Nandor's end. I mean, she did say like he was a good friend, but I just think she's just totally not interested in like being an item with him. Just like not like she's like, ew, you're completely repulsive to me, Nandor.
well, I wish they would give him someone that makes more sense than if it's not the guy.
Yeah, it seemed like there was going to be like a chance for him and Guillermo that one time, but then it was like when Nadja was like on the council and then they were going to go to Europe, and then Laszlo made Guillermo take his place there because he was raising baby Colin Robinson, and then that kind of screwed things completely up for that.
Maybe the possum shapeshifter lady come back into the picture.
Maybe.
Because well, we don't really know other than like he broke up with her because she stayed a possum for 6 months or whatever. But I think he did like her. I guess I don't know.
Yeah. It would just be weird to try to date a possum.
Maybe she couldn't like maybe she's depressed or something and she couldn't switch back or get out of that form. There was something keeping her that way.
No,
Unless
she's
she
just
just didn't want to she wanted to break up with Andor, but she was chicken, so
yeah.
she's like, I'll just be a possum and he'll leave.
Yeah.
And that's mean too.
Yeah.
Just hook up with him. And when Cravensworth Monster brought Jerry's head back, he was giving it to Naja as like a gift. And she
Yes.
had to sort of like praise him like he was a child or like,
A cat or something.
yeah, like a cat bringing in a dead bird or something.
Yeah. It's like, oh, look, you brought his crushed head to me.
Yeah.
She's like,
Right. But I guess that's it. And the next one is called The Promotion.
yes. And that will be, I believe, in the second to last episode because there's supposed to be 11 episodes this season. But I still haven't seen what the 11th episode is called. So that will be, I guess, a mystery until it shows up on Hulu, like the name and episode description and everything. Thank you, everyone, for listening to our little podcast. If you haven't already, it would be super cool if you could rate the show and subscribe. And if you're listening to it on YouTube, it would also be cool if you could subscribe to the channel, leave a like, leave a comment, etc. And this isn't our only podcast. We also have another podcast called Mojo Jojo's Bizarre Adventure, in which we discuss the Powerpuff Girls and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And that one has a lot more episodes out currently, so if you want to like binge listen or something, and you're really into Powerpuff Girls or JoJo or both, that's a good option there if you want to hear more of our stuff. Until next time, remember, you're dead and out of this world. Goodbye.
Goodbye.